All right, let's try to get this started. A few minutes ago, I was doing my sports stream, and there's a lot of lagginess and a lot of errors with it. So if you're having issues on your end, please be sure to let me know. I think I have a Wi-Fi issue, but I'm not sure. It may be the program I'm using. If it is, we'll have to do something else. So just let me know if you're having issues on your end before we dig into this. Can you see everything? Can you hear everything? Is everything fine? So if it is, let me know so we can work on fixing these issues here. I'm using this program called Streamlabs, and so it sounds like everything is good though. So I don't know why I can't see it on my end. My end is everything is real laggy here. So, but let me know if you have issue. Amanda says, all good, brother. You're clear here. I see you and hear you fine. All right, so let's go ahead and just talk about it. I'm not sure what's going on. It could be, I think it's my Wi-Fi signal that's giving me an issue here. So, all right, so everybody is saying everything is fine. And remember, as I get ready to start this Facebook Live here, follow me on YouTube. Trying to get that going. You know, I'm not crazy about Facebook anymore. They've changed so many things up here. People aren't getting the information out. Everything being distributed the way it needs to be. So I'm trying to transition to do more things over on YouTube, maybe some Instagram too. I haven't gotten to that much yet. Maybe some TikTok. I don't know. I'm not super crazy about any of those platforms right now. Facebook has always been the best. But again, Meta, they can't leave stuff alone. They have to just continue to mess with things, and then you wind up getting issues with things. And what they did was you have to turn on notifications manually now to be able to get these updates that Facebook Live is coming through. If not, you won't know they're here. So to me, that took away a valuable source because so many people relied on these Facebook Lives for weather information that really is limiting and keeping you from being able to see those. So I don't like that. So I'm trying to transition to doing more on YouTube. Find my YouTube channel. It is I changed it, Meteorologist Ken Johnson. I'm not sure if you have to type in the capital J or K and J or not, so find me over there. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about weather and what's going on. We're going to break down the weather information here. Remember, I am not on doing the weather tonight. I'm at the Chocolate 4 a.m. seeing that. Time right now is 2:53. Matter of fact, I got to go get dressed here in just a little bit. Got to be there at 4:30. All right, so let's talk about what's going on. Remember yesterday we started showing this, kind of talking about it a little bit. And, we had issues with some of our weather information disagreeing. The European computer model has been very consistent. Every run looks about the same with a really strong system. Remember, we were talking about how we had to have a strong system in order to generate snow in this type of event. It's not like we have a lot of Arctic air in place that's going to come pouring in and it's going to allow this all this precipitation to change over to snow and fall as all snow. This is what we call a very strong, potent upper air storm system. And it's so strong that it's generating its own cold air. And with that, you'll have a lot of intense lift. And when you get that intense lift, it cools the atmosphere, and then you'll get heavier precipitation, and then it'll start pulling that colder air down to the Earth's surface, and you wind up seeing, usually a lot of times with these types of systems, very heavy wet snow. And wet snow is not good to deal with. I guess it is good if you are driving around. It usually doesn't present too many problems with that other than slush. But if you're worried about power outages, sometimes that can create power outages. But it certainly does look like a wet snow could be headed our way. Of course, this is Friday, and we're talking about something on Tuesday, so that gives me Saturday, Sunday, Monday, still 4 days away. But I think confidence is starting to increase enough to where we're pretty sure something's going to happen across this part of the country. I would anticipate first alert weather days will probably be coming. I haven't talked to the powers that be yet about that, but I would think that that certainly is going to come. Remember, ask me questions here so I can answer them. And in the future, I'll try to pull you on Facebook, and you can ask me a lot of things I'm doing with this here. I'm using a program called Streamlabs. Matter of fact, you can see the little dinosaur hopping up and down there. It's OBS Streamlabs. Streamers, gamers use this platform a lot. So it allows me to be able to stream to multiple platforms at one time. So hopefully that's something we can continue to build on. All right, so, what happened there? All right. I've heard this program can be a little glitchy from time to time, so you'll have to just, excuse me. So let's talk about the weather information. First of all, this weekend, there will be a little system crossing the area here this weekend. It's going to produce maybe a little light rain tomorrow morning. But the position of that storm system isn't good for that. And what you see there, this is way up there about 500 millibars in the atmosphere. And this will be tomorrow morning into the afternoon. That's not precipitation. What you're seeing there is spin in the atmosphere. It's called vorticity. It's a counterclockwise spin. These are little storm systems, or sometimes big storm systems that are embedded within the jet stream. They ride along the jet stream. It's these upper level systems that give birth to our precipitation. They can also help pull down cold air. They can generate their own cold air. But when we look for storm systems, this is the number one thing we start off looking at is the 500 millibar chart. So there's the first piece of energy rotating through. Again, that's energy in the atmosphere. That is not precipitation. Now let's go ahead. Sunday should be okay. Maybe I think tomorrow afternoon will be all right too. We'll look at that in a moment. But let's go out in time. Here we are on Monday, and there's our storm center. You can see it kind of there on the side of your screen there, just now starting to come into play. And notice how it's digging, and look at how rounded it is. Folks, that's a really intense storm system there. The center of it's over southwest Texas, and out ahead of it, you're going to get a lot of lift. And this is going to start creating areas of precipitation. Now, usually with these types of situations, they get so intense, they'll have a pocket of cold air underneath them. And usually as the system goes over top of you, especially on the north and northwest side of them, you usually see an area of heavy snow. That's where the precipitation changes over the snow. Now, this is off the GFS. This would be into Tuesday afternoon. You can see that upper air storm system moving across Oklahoma, Arkansas, and up into Kansas and into Missouri by Wednesday morning. Then it's on through. So that's the upper air storm system off of the GFS. So there it is. That's it right there. Very, very potent. We'll probably see some severe weather with that out ahead of it across the Gulf Coast states, maybe east or southeast Texas. And it's those thunderstorms that feed back into the storm system, into the colder air. And that's where you'll wind up. These types of systems can produce really heavy snow. And somewhere, if this solution does verify, somewhere we'll probably get some really heavy snow out of this. If we go over and look at precipitation types, again, this will be tomorrow morning, little system passing on through, maybe a shower early on, nothing major. There could be some light snow up into Kansas and Missouri tomorrow night, and early on Sunday, but that passes us by. Sunday looks like a seasonably cool day, and then here comes our storm center. You can see those lines. Now, what those lines represent, they're called isobars. They represent equal areas of pressure. And when you start to see these lines start to get kind of close together, there's a pretty big pressure drop, and that indicates an intensifying storm system, and it usually creates strong winds. So probably getting pretty windy on Monday morning. Out ahead of it, you can see some precipitation develops Monday evening and Monday night, mostly, at least initially, over us rain. But look, there's the cold air. And what you look for is this 540 line. If you look there, the 540 line kind of represents... it's a thickness in the atmosphere, and it's a direct correlation to temperatures. The higher the thickness, the thicker the atmosphere is, so that represents warmer air. Remember, warmer air expands the atmosphere, cooler air contracts it. So when you start to see those numbers drop down 540 or lower, that tells you that the atmosphere is contracting, it's getting colder, it's pushing down closer to the Earth's surface, and when you get precipitation that really begins to increase, that heavier precipitation helps drag that colder column of air down to the Earth's surface. These types of situations, you may start off even with snowflakes where temperatures are mid to upper 30s, but the more of that snow that falls, the dynamic process kicks in, and you begin to see those all that change over to snow, and you see the temperatures begin to drop. So here we are on Tuesday morning early. There's your precipitation. The blue would be snow. That would show heavy snow across northwestern parts of Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, with mostly rain over us. Remember, this is the GFS, and here we are Tuesday morning about 9 o'clock, heavy snow over southern Oklahoma. And then look at the precipitation changes over to snow across most of North Texas by Tuesday afternoon. This would be wraparound moisture on the back side of it with some strong winds. That would be wind-driven snow there, probably some reduced visibilities, especially if it comes down hard enough. Now, to get heavy snowfall accumulation, it has to snow heavy for an extended period of time. And if we look And these are just numbers I'm throwing out. This is not a forecast. This is just numbers I'm throwing out. I do not have a forecast for it put together yet. I will do that over the weekend. But as of right now, this is what we're looking at. This is off the GFS, and I'll show you the European in a few minutes, and it's a little bit different. It shows a swath of heavy snow from southwestern parts of Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, through a good part of Oklahoma, and back into the Texas Panhandle. And some of those areas showing upwards of a foot of snow. Now, I don't know that it's going to be that heavy, but certainly do think somewhere with these scenarios, if this storm system does play out this way, would certainly produce some heavy snow, band of heavy snowfall somewhere. But you can see across North Texas, it doesn't have as heavy as snow. It's because the GFS is showing as staying as rain longer and only transitioning for a little while with some heavier snow. All right, so let's switch gears now, and let's go over to the European computer model. And let's see what that is showing here at this time. So far, nobody has any questions here. I'm looking forward to see if there's anybody asking any questions, and I do not see any at this point in time. Make sure you ask them. If you have some, ask them. Now is the time to do it. All right, so let's go over to my other source here that we're doing. All right, this is the European computer model. Give me a second. I got to pull this up and make this more of a regional area so we can look at it here and see what's going on with it. All right. I just want you to be able to see. And hopefully you are able to see. Let me see here. Dynamics. All right, I'm going to check my stream feed here and see if you can see it. So I may need to move this up just a little bit. Give me a second. I'm going to fix something real fast. Just want you to be able to see this. All right. Hopefully you can see this. All right, now let's try it. All right, so here, this is off the European computer model. And this is, again, that 500 millibar chart I was talking about a moment ago. So let's put this into motion. That is Saturday morning storm system. And make sure this is the European. Yeah, it is. It's the European. High-res European. All right, that's Saturday morning storm system. Now, let's go into early next week. All right, so here's you can see the European and the GFS look very similar. The only difference is here is the European model. Sorry, this thing keeps on. I'm doing a scroll, and for whatever reason it's moving. All right, so there's really not much. I mean, if you remember the GFS, the American GFS model showed the upper air storm system over southwest Texas. This is Tuesday morning, almost a mirror image of each other. Out ahead of it, a lot of lift. You got a lot of counterclockwise motion in the atmosphere, tremendous amounts of lift. That's going to generate areas of heavy precipitation, and that's good news. We need the precipitation here, folks. That is definitely some good news. Here we are. This would be Tuesday at around lunchtime. That storm system is intense. Notice how it kind of bends back to the left a little, leans back to the left a little bit. That's a negative tilted trough. Typically speaking, that gives a lot of energy to the atmosphere. So you usually see very heavy areas of precipitation and a really mature, strong storm system with that. And just like on the GFS, it's kind of producing its own cold air. Behind it, it does tap into some colder air, so it looks colder next week. And if we kind of go out, and Garrett was telling me earlier, this is showing another system for next weekend, but I don't know. There may be some there for next weekend. We'll worry about next weekend later on. We ain't worried about that right now. So, all right, let's go into and looking at the precipitation. Again, the European has been way more consistent with this system than the GFS has been. But you have to take, especially what's called QPF, quantitative precipitation forecast, with these models with a grain of salt. Oftentimes, they're, especially this far out, they're going to be off some, and a lot of times they're just too heavy with it. So we will remember that as we're making a forecast here. So putting this into motion, there's tomorrow morning, maybe a few sprinkles around in the morning. Then the afternoon on Saturday, we see sunshine. Sunday looks good. A little bit on the cool side, and then here we go Sunday night and into Monday. You can see that storm system cranking out. Here we are Monday night around midnight, and you're seeing surface storm system down near Midland, Odessa. Heavy rain and thunderstorms breaking out down that way. On the cold side of this, near Lubbock and up towards Plainview and into Amarillo, snow is breaking out, and some of that could be pretty heavy. Look at that snow really expanding into northwest Texas, southwest Oklahoma about early on Tuesday morning. Your surface storm system looks like it's down pretty close to San Antonio from here. Now, one thing that the European model is doing is putting a lot of sleet over us, and if that were the case, then that, in my opinion, out of all the winter weather we get, I hate sleet the most. And the reason why I hate sleet the most is it screws up your forecast, and it makes it real difficult to forecast, what you're going to see, because sleet will bring down your snowfall totals. If you say all snow, you can forecast it pretty easy. But if you wind up getting more sleet than snow, that brings your snowfall totals for snowfall numbers down. And it also, like I say, just kind of, and it sticks around. The sleet's hard to melt off. It sticks around forever. I can't stand sleet. It clumps up. It is one of those situations where when you're dealing with sleet that you can drive on it. It's probably the easiest of all of it to drive on. But that stuff will melt, it'll thaw, then it'll refreeze. It's just a mess. It's hard to clean off your driveway. It sticks around for a while. I just don't like sleet. But in this type of a situation, I don't know that we would see a lot of sleet. It's possible we would. But upper air storm systems usually cool the atmosphere, they column pretty heavily, and you usually wind up with mostly snow. And again, the further northwest you are on the northwestern side of these things is where you see the heaviest snow bands. And you can see it does bring that to an end by Tuesday afternoon, moving it up into Arkansas and Missouri from there. Now, one thing the European model is doing is it's forecasting heavier snowfall amounts than the GFS. It's clobbering the area with some really heavy snow. And keep in mind, as I show you this is just taking it with a grain of salt. This is not my forecast. It's not my forecast at all. And oftentimes, the European computer model is way, way overdone on snowfall amounts. So keep that in mind. So, James, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on where you're at. You certainly could see more than a dusting. The further north you go up into Oklahoma, you're definitely going to get it, based upon the latest information, that is. Why do we have more than one computer model? That's a good question. Each computer model has different algorithms to handle things differently, and I don't know why. They just make adjustments here and there. Some weather computer models are better suited for different types of weather patterns than others. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them that are out there we look at, especially when you get into severe weather. There's a lot of high-resolution computer models you get into. Somebody wants to know about how much snow or ice. Well, again, I'm not ready to jump on that bandwagon and make that forecast just yet. So let's show you the European snowfall predictions. Little system up in Kansas tomorrow produces a little snow there. And then look at what the European model is doing over southern Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, and down into North Texas. That's showing anywhere between about 4 and maybe 7, 8 inches. Some places may be heavier than that. That's what the model is showing. That is not my forecast. Keep in mind, that's going to change. Could be heavier. Those heavy band areas will be adjusted. You can compare that to the GFS. The GFS has some really heavy numbers across southern parts of Oklahoma. So with that said, again, not ready to put together a forecast yet, but at least as of right now, I'm pretty confident that there will be a pretty strong storm system early next week with rain and or snow for some. Could be some heavy snow in some areas. Probably going to see a first alert weather day come for at least Tuesday, maybe Monday night to Tuesday of next week. It's too soon to pinpoint everything down. If you throw numbers out and start forecasting snow right now, you're going to get burned, especially in this part of the country. I can't tell you how many times I've seen a situation where it looks like we're going to get rain here and we wind up getting nothing. Or we forecast snow here and we wind up getting nothing when you're doing that several days out. There's been times we've issued first alert weather days for severe weather and we didn't even get a drop of rain. It happens. It's real difficult to forecast this far out. So Teresa, I cannot tell you how much snow or ice we're going to get. Just know somewhere in this area, maybe here, maybe north, I'm going to see some wintry precipitation. And I'm glad you like the way I explain things to you. I love being able to do that. That's one beautiful thing about the live streams that we're able to do here. is I'm able to give you information and show you stuff and explain it to you. And the reason I do that is because if you understand what I'm talking about, and I hope sometimes I'm not getting above your head, but if you understand what I'm talking about, you understand the forecast better, then maybe you'll understand why things are happening. So, people ask me, what about the Dean area? What about Henrietta? What about Petrolia? Again, there's no way I can tell you what's going to happen right now. That's just too far out there. Just again, know there's going to be a system in the area that could produce some winter weather around Tuesday of next week. Somebody says it wasn't overdone a few years ago. Seems like it was pretty correct. Our weather information is getting better. It is getting better. It is beginning to get a little bit more accurate, especially when you get to these longer range type things. So hopefully that trend continues, and hopefully we continue to provide you with better forecasts for this stuff in the long range. And it could be right. I'm not saying it's not right. It could be right. A few weeks when we had that big cold outbreak in December, the GFS computer model was showing that, 2 weeks out. And it nailed it. And, it's not always right like that 2 weeks out, but occasionally it does hit one. You got to be careful, though, about who you trust and what you see out there, because there's going to be a lot of numbers of these big numbers. A lot of these people that are doing something similar to what I'm doing here, the streaming stuff and having their own Facebook pages and whatnot. They're going to throw these model data numbers out there, and they're going to get shared and shared and shared and shared and shared. And then when you wind up getting to Tuesday and we don't get that, you're going to wonder why we were all wrong. That's why I don't put a forecast out yet. I'm not saying that won't be an accurate forecast, but it could be, but it may not be. So we'll just kind of wait and see what happens. So. All right. Well, again, I thank you guys for watching us here today. For whatever reason, again, this Facebook page has just stopped growing. We got to 31,000 followers and it just isn't moving at all. And that's why I've decided, especially during these quieter periods of weather, to start trying to do more stuff outside of just than just weather. To do some sports stuff, have some stuff that's interesting, stuff that you might find interesting, and stuff you may not find interesting at all. So far that stuff's getting pretty low viewership, but hopefully at some point in time it does take off. Eventually I want to do a bit of a podcast too. I've actually got a setup where I can do weather at home. If you ever watch Ryan Hall, that guy has got a great setup. That dude just does it right. He's got over 1 million followers, and he's a good streamer. I don't think he's a meteorologist, but he's a good streamer, and he has a really nice setup. Eventually I want to do something like that too. We're expanding with the Storm Chaser Network this year. Got a number of guys on board with me wanting to do that this year, so hopefully that all works out and we do well with that. Totally agree. There's already 4 different forecasts on Facebook. You're going to see bunches of those, so just get ready for that. I'm not even going to worry with that anymore. I'm not going to badmouth those guys. I'm not going to say anything about those guys. They're entitled to do whatever it is that they want to do. And unfortunately, people are going to follow them and share their stuff, and it's just the way it is. It's just the world we live in now. So I'm not going to worry about it. Let them do their thing. I'm going to do my thing, and we'll just see what happens with it all. So, dude has a ton of lettuce wrapped up in his system. Oh, I don't. Yeah, you're right. He does. Corey, Ryan does. I think I saw somewhere he spent. I think he has a $500,000 setup or something like this. Crazy, and I can't afford that. But I think he got all his stuff set up when COVID hit, and he started doing stuff from at home, and his platform just grew. And he doesn't do a bad job. He does a good job. There's no way I can do what he does. He covers every single weather event, no matter where it's at, and I just can't do that. It's just I've got too much going on. I got the TV station. I got this house here that I'm trying to renovate and doing a lot of that work myself. I got all these dogs. Matter of fact, I wanted to have Lucky on. I don't know where Lucky is, so he's probably out there hanging out. So yeah, he does a good job though, and I would like to be able to do some of the stuff but I don't have the capital that he has either. So, but I'll do what I can, and I'll continue to provide you guys with the best weather information that I can, and other stuff that I might be able to do. These gamers have great platforms too, and that's kind of what I'm trying to mimic. I got a girl that's building me some stuff now to hopefully improve my look a little bit. A lot of what you see here, these new flashy graphics and all, they're not what I'm going to be using permanently. She's gonna build me something better than this, so hopefully we have something good. Yeah, it will be great when we have severe weather and thunderstorms in the spring, especially to have those chasers we can put on here and get the bird's eye view. Yeah, we are expecting some type of a winter weather in the South Plains, and Lubbock, you would be included in on that. Matter of fact, you may wind up getting hit pretty good early next week. So we'll see. My daughter actually is in Lubbock now, going to PT school down there. So I think she says she's coming home today. All right. Well, remember to follow my YouTube page, like my Facebook page, share all this stuff out there. Let's see if we can get these numbers to grow some. I'm not doing this for monetary value at all. I'm just doing this for, because I enjoy doing it, having a lot of fun. I won't do, too much stuff. I won't bombard you with too much stuff, but it'll be some stuff out there. Remember, I am at the Chocolate Soiree tonight. And the Chocolate Soiree is a fundraiser for Christ Academy, and I'll do a Facebook Live or two from there. I'm looking forward to that. That's always fun. A lot of nice folks out there for that, and a lot of good food. Of course, it's a good charity, a good fundraiser for them, and looking forward to doing that. So my wife and I will be there, and we'll be doing a live broadcast on News Channel 6 or the CBS station, and probably on Facebook and the app as well from 6 to 7 tonight, talking about that. Some having fun out there at that. If you see somebody with chocolate all over their face, that'll be me. So. All right, guys, I am going to let you go. I am going to go outside and do some work around my yard before I have to get ready to go to this thing. And then I'll have updates on this winter weather event over the weekend. Remember, I'll also have some live stream stuff at the Cowboys game from here at my house on Sunday afternoon pre-gaming. As I talk about the game a little bit. I'm trying my buddy Mark Austin on with that some too. Remember, if you have questions, ask me. Even if I don't get to them right away, I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. So, again, thank you for joining my live stream here on Facebook and on YouTube. I'll have more updated information over the weekend, and we'll try to nail down a forecast with this